The clinking of silverware and soft jazz music filled our dining room. It was a celebration for my father, Arthur, whose company, Bryant Innovations, had just secured a major expansion. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding with a mix of nerves and excitement. This was my moment. "Dad," I began, my voice cutting through the family chatter. "I've been saving up, and I've started looking into investments. I think I'm ready to really make my money work." The table went quiet for a second. Then my father laughed, a short, harsh sound. He didn't even look up from his plate. "You? Florence, you can't even handle your own life. You're too stupid to handle money." The air left my lungs. My older brother, Leo, studied his napkin. My mother's smile was frozen in place. Humiliation burned my cheeks. I quietly excused myself, my vision blurring with unshed tears. I drove home in a daze, my father's words echoing in the silent car. Too stupid. They weren't new. I remembered him calling me scatterbrained when I struggled with math in school, how he'd given Leo an internship I'd begged for, how he dismissed every idea I'd ever had. I had always made excuses, told myself he was just tough, that he wanted me to be strong. But tonight felt different. It was a public execution of my confidence. I pulled into my driveway and sat in the dark, finally admitting the truth I'd buried for years. This wasn't toughness. It was a deep, sustained emotional abuse designed to make me feel small. The pain was sharp, but beneath it, a new, colder feeling was stirring. A resolve. I walked into my quiet apartment, the insult still ringing in my ears. I couldn't sleep. I needed to do something, anything, to prove I wasn't the person he thought I was. I opened my laptop, my fingers trembling as I typed Bryant Innovations into the search bar. I knew the company was successful, but I'd never paid attention to the details. That's when I saw it. A news article from 6 months ago. Bryant Innovations opens to minority shareholders. My heart skipped a beat. The company wasn't fully public, but a portion of it was. Regular people could buy shares. It was a legitimate path, a way in. A way to prove him wrong. I spent the next hour devouring every public document I could find. Investor reports, financial summaries, press releases. The company was stable, but a pattern emerged. Several articles mentioned a leadership style that caused high employee turnover. The company's weakness wasn't its product, it was its founder. My father. His abrasive personality was a liability. With trembling hands, I logged into my investment account. I transferred almost all of my carefully saved money. I entered the ticker symbol, BRTN, and bought 100 shares. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was enough. I was now a part owner. A week later, a thick, formal envelope arrived. It was from Bryant Innovations' corporate office. Inside was an invitation to the annual shareholder Q&A session. I was officially invited as a shareholder. My plan, once a vague fantasy, was now real. I spent every evening after work buried in research. I learned about shareholder rights, proxy voting, and board structures. I found online forums where employees anonymously reviewed the company. The stories were consistent, a culture of fear, demoralized staff, and a CEO who refused to listen. My father's greatest weakness was his own arrogance. The day of the Q&A arrived. I wore my most professional suit and walked into the corporate headquarters I'd only ever seen from the outside. I found a seat near the back. When my father took the stage, his eyes scanned the room and landed on me. His smile faltered for a split second. During the Q&A, he gestured toward me with a fake, paternal laugh. "I see my daughter, Florence, decided to join us. It's cute when the kids want to play investor." A few people chuckled nervously. My face grew hot, but I didn't look away. When the moderator called for questions, my hand went up. "Your annual report cites innovation as a core value," I began, my voice clear and steady. "Yet your own employee satisfaction surveys, which you published, show a 40% drop in morale and a high turnover rate in your R&D department. How do you reconcile your stated values with the reality that your key innovators are leaving? A murmur rippled through the room. My father's face tightened. He gave a vague, dismissive answer about industry standards. After the meeting, as I walked to my car, a man in a suit approached me. Ms. Bryant? I'm Ben Carter, a project manager. That was a very good question. We need to talk. Ben didn't meet me in secret. He simply pointed me toward public filings I had missed, old whistleblower complaints that had been dismissed, community forum threads detailing my father's public outbursts, and years of employee reviews on job sites all saying the same thing. The evidence was all there, hiding in plain sight. The company's single biggest risk was Arthur Bryant himself. Ben's final words echoed in my mind. The board is scared of him. But if enough shareholders unite, they don't have to be. He can be outvoted. The scale of what was possible suddenly expanded before me. I spent the next week drafting a document. It wasn't an emotional rant, it was a professional investor's letter. I outlined the concerns about leadership, linking them directly to the company's risk factors and declining culture metrics. I posted it on the official Bryant Innovations shareholder forum. For 2 days, nothing. Then, comments started to appear. Finally, someone is saying it. This needs to be addressed. My heart raced when I saw an email notification. It was from an Eleanor Vance. She owned a significant block of shares and requested a meeting. I met Eleanor at a quiet cafe. She was an elegant, older woman with sharp, intelligent eyes. I've been a shareholder since the beginning, Florence, she said. I believed in your father's vision once. But his behavior is now a threat to my investment. I've been waiting for someone with the courage and the standing to challenge him. She saw the shock on my face. You have the name, and you clearly have the brains. I'm willing to proxy my voting rights to you for the upcoming board election. An alliance was formed. A coalition was born. My father didn't wait long to retaliate. He showed up at my apartment, his face a mask of cold fury. What do you think you're doing? He demanded, not even stepping inside. Spreading lies, turning my investors against me? This is a betrayal, Florence. I will cut you off from everything. You are too stupid to understand the damage you're causing. I stood my ground, my hand gripping the doorframe. I'm acting as a concerned shareholder, Dad. That's all. He stared at me, his eyes blazing. You're messing with the wrong person, he snarled before turning and storming away. A few days later, a former colleague from the company sent me a worried text. Your dad is telling people you've always been unstable, that this is a personal vendetta because he wouldn't give you a job. It was a smear campaign. But then, I received an anonymous email. It contained a link to a public town hall meeting the company had held. The video was timestamped to show my father publicly berating an employee for asking a simple question. It was all the evidence I needed of the toxic culture, and it was already on the public record. I compiled everything into a clean, professional presentation. Public financials, the town hall video, the aggregated employee reviews, and the data on turnover. It was a calm, factual, and devastating case against his leadership. The argument wrote itself. The annual shareholder meeting was officially announced, and the vote for the board seat was on the agenda. Eleanor confirmed it quietly over the phone. We have the numbers, Florence. We can win this. The battle was set. My brother, Leo, came to see me. He was the golden child, the one who had always stayed silent. Florence, you have to stop this, he pleaded. Dad's furious. He says you're trying to ruin everything he built. I looked at him, truly looked at him, and saw the brother who had never once defended me. He's been emotionally abusing me for my entire life, Leo. Where were you then? For a moment, he looked ashamed. Then his expression hardened. You don't know what you're dealing with, he whispered, and left. His warning made me dig deeper. I went through every obscure public filing again, line by line. And I found it. Buried in the notes of a subsidiary's financial statement was a massive, high-interest loan my father had taken out in the company's name to fund a separate, risky real estate project. It was a reckless over-leverage that put the entire company at risk if that project failed. It was the final, undeniable proof of his terrible judgment. I added it to my presentation. The stakes were now much higher. The next morning, an anonymous email appeared in my inbox. "Back off or you'll be sorry." It was clearly meant to intimidate me. Instead of being scared, I felt a surge of cold anger. I forwarded the email directly to the company's official ethics hotline, noting that as a shareholder, I felt this represented a hostile environment for any form of dissent. To my shock, I received a formal reply. The ethics office acknowledged a pattern of concerning behavior and was opening an official inquiry. I had turned their trap into more evidence. A business journalist from a local paper called me. "I'm hearing rumors of a shareholder revolt at Bryant Innovations," he said. I politely declined to comment, stating it was a private matter for shareholders. The fact that the media was sniffing around meant the story had legs. Our coalition grew stronger as nervous investors, worried about the loan I'd uncovered, quietly pledged their support. Then, I got an alert. My father had called an emergency, shareholders-only meeting. He was getting desperate. I attended the emergency meeting. My father stood at the front, his usual confidence gone, replaced by a frantic energy. He launched into a speech about disloyalty and family betrayal, his face growing redder with each word. It was a performance, and a bad one. He wasn't addressing the financial risks, he was just attacking me. Midway through his tirade, several shareholders simply stood up and walked out. My phone buzzed. A text from Eleanor. *, we have enough votes. It's over for him. *. The day of the main annual meeting arrived. I practiced my short speech one last time. My voice shook at first, but then it steadied. I realized the fear was gone. I was no longer his scared little girl, I was a prepared shareholder. Just as I was leaving, my mother called. Her voice was a tense whisper. "Florence, be careful today. Your father, he's planning something. He won't go down quietly." I thanked her and hung up, my resolve hardening. I was ready for whatever he had. The boardroom was packed. My father began the meeting not with facts, but with a grand, vague announcement about a new strategic direction and streamlined operations. It was clearly a last-minute distraction, full of buzzwords and no substance. When he called for questions, I stood up. I asked precise, pointed questions about the costs, the timeline, and how this new plan addressed the massive loan he'd taken. He stammered, he evaded, he grew angry. The shareholders watched, their expressions turning from curiosity to concern to disapproval. The moderator finally called for the vote on the board seat. The vote was done by silent ballot. As the papers were collected, my father stared at me from across the room, his eyes filled with pure hatred. The counters left the room. The silence was agonizing. They returned and handed a slip of paper to the moderator. He cleared his throat. "The vote to remove Arthur Bryant from the board of directors passes." A wave of gasps and murmurs filled the room. My father went pale. But the moderator wasn't finished. "Before we conclude," he said, "there is a second motion from the floor." Eleanor Vance stood up. "Given the need for fresh perspective and a commitment to ethical governance," she said, her voice firm, "I nominate Florence Bryant to fill the vacant seat on the board." My own breath caught in my throat. This wasn't part of my plan. I had only wanted to hold him accountable, not take his place. A vote was called. It was nearly unanimous. The shareholders had not just rejected my father, they had chosen me. I was now a board member of his company. My father shot up from his chair screeching against the floor. "This is an outrage. A conspiracy," he shouted, but no one met his gaze. Employees looked down at their notes, some hiding small smiles. As he stormed out, slamming the door behind him, I saw him for what he truly was, not a giant, but a small, defeated man. That night, my phone rang. It was him. His voice, usually so full of bluster, was shaking. "Florence," he said. "They're going to audit everything. That loan. I need your help." He was begging. The board was initiating a full review of his failed projects, and he was facing personal financial ruin. I felt a pang of something, pity, perhaps, but no satisfaction. "I'll help, Dad," I said calmly. "As a board member, I'll ensure the review is fair and that any solutions we find are in the best interest of the company and all its shareholders. There will be no special treatment." There was a long silence on the other end. He had expected a rescue, but I was offering him justice. He hung up without another word. In my new role, I worked with the board to implement new policies, transparent financial reporting, anonymous employee feedback channels, and ethical leadership training. Morale improved. The company stabilized, and within a quarter, we were seeing growth. An employee stopped me in the hall. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You saved this place." A week later, a courier delivered a small, flat package to my door. Inside was a handwritten note. The writing was my father's, shaky and unsure. It read, "I was wrong about you. I'm sorry." Paperclipped to it was a share transfer certificate. He had given me his remaining personal shares. I felt a profound peace. I hadn't wanted to destroy him or his company. I had just wanted to be free from his definition of me. I didn't buy his company. I bought my freedom.